produce too much waste. That's number one. If you see on Europe as a continent, per capita we produce 5 tons of waste per person, which is enormous. Where is the waste coming from? We banned at our institution plastics. So water in plastics is not allowed anymore. Number two, I'm a little bit shocked because I'm coming from Switzerland, and what we learn from a child is that everything regarding waste we separate. So all the PET bottles go separate into a special can, which are also in the classrooms. We have then a special garbage can for fruits and apples, paper, carton, and another box for what rest over. That we keep, and that's giving them to the waste collecting company. Out of these plastic bottles, you know what we make? We make furniture. If you go and buy to the shop, and I know that, for example, in Pune, milk is a big issue. If you go and buy it in a carton box, from these carton boxes there is a file inside. We separate the file, and again from these carton boxes we make furniture. So we try to recycle, reuse as much as possible. Rainwater, very important. We have huge collectors of the rainwater, and we don't use proper clean water for the toilets, but we use the rainwater. The rainwater goes through a procedure to make sure that it is hygienic, and then all the toilets are basically functioning with rainwater. Energy is all solar energy. You know, all these cooling installations consume a lot of electricity. We use it with solar energy. So we use wind energy. All these things we try to change. And it's very important because, sir, I agree with all the points you mentioned, but you still talked about as entrepreneur, as work. I disagree with that. Entrepreneurs, you should be passionate about what you're doing. If you're not passionate about agile business, if you're not passionate about sustainability, people will give up and the business at the end of the day will not succeed. So it's about passion. So for students, tonight, before you close your eyes, you have to make a SWOT analysis of yourself. You have to think about what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, what do I like to do, and where I'm passionate about, you go for that. Whatever sector that is, whatever things you want to achieve in life. And if you're passionate, you will succeed in everything what you will do. At the end, sir, I agree as well, but one little remark. Once you're successful, and a lot of people tend to forget that, very important is, and that's also sustainable, remain humble. Very important. People are very successful, then you see 10 sports cars in front of the company. I don't know, they don't understand anymore the value of 10 rupees. If they tend to forget all that, that's also the beginning of a decline. When you're successful, remain humble, give to the society, because society is about sharing. Society is about working together, how to make a better world. If you succeed in that, I think that should be your mission. Thank you. Yes, two things. Number one, it's all about the mindset change. So it's innovation. We used to talk about new products and only new products, but that's not enough. You also have to rethink how to change the processes, how to change the policies. If the habits, we can have an HR policy for 20 years, but if the habits of the onboarding personnel is changing, you need to adapt your policy. And usually this clicking, this coordination, this working together, if the whole company is not following the philosophy of sustainability and saying we are ready for a change because we see change as a chance, that will not happen. And policies remain the same, and then companies go out of business and everybody wonders why. Number two, it has to deal with discipline. Before you talked about coffee, I can give you an example from Switzerland. We have this wonderful Nespresso machines which are making this coffee in these capsules. And what do? Every 2 weeks we go to the recycling center and we have a special box where we drop the capsules, because the capsules, the aluminium within the capsule, the coffee itself can be reused. Nestlé, which is the owner of Nespresso, tried to do the same thing in France. They didn't succeed. Why? Because the people lacked the discipline. The people didn't understand. You can always say, oh, sustainability, the polluter should pay. That's the basic rule, right? But to implement that, to keep the discipline with people is very difficult. And number 3, it's all about skills. I'll give you an example. We wanted to install solar panels on our roof at our house. I wrote to 5 companies, and you know what the companies answered? Sir, we're very busy. Please do not contact us in the next 2 years because we will not come anyway, because we don't have the people with the skills who are able to do that. So for youngsters, it's all about skills development. If you don't have the skills, if you don't have the mindset and the discipline, we can talk here for hours, but nothing will change. But I also want to give a warning sign, because you see, for example, in Europe, there is an area for social tension, because you see the youngsters, they're all fans of sustainability. They understand we have to change. We cannot continue to do what we are doing. Then you see the elderly generation who are very resistant. Why are you doing that? Why are the youngsters blocking the street? On Monday morning I need to drive to my job, and then I see a couple of youngsters and they're blocking the road. Or everybody wants to go on holidays, then the youngsters block the Sint-Gotthard tunnel. Kilometers and kilometers of traffic jam, everybody getting excited and angry because they all want to go on holidays, and some youngsters block the tunnel. You know, there is social tension. We have to be careful. Ask yourself, when is the last time you went to a bank branch? We used to do the transactions, so we used to fill out a paper, deposit at the bank. We're not doing it anymore because everybody's doing internet and online banking. We used to go and take money from the cash teller. We don't anymore because everybody has Paytm, Apple Pay, etc. So why are you going to the bank? So if you have to organize a program in finance and banking, who's gonna come? Nobody, because everybody says there is no future in banking. There is still a future in banking, because I believe if banks have to make very complicated financial deals with very specialized knowledge, people will be forced to go to banks. Banks are reinventing themselves because banks are becoming more and more tech companies. And to answer the question about sustainability, yes, it's there are options there. But look, IMF said 2 or 3 days ago, governments around the world still give $9 trillion subsidies to fossil fuels. So we say, oh, we're creating a mutual fund only with companies who are not, for example, exploring mines or fossil fuels and all this. But governments continue to give $9 trillion for subsidies for coal, petrol, etc. How do we want to change the world? And the last thing I want to say is there is something which is called green wishing, but unfortunately there is a lot of green washing also taking place. So you have financial products and every company says, oh, this is ESG confirmed, economic, social and government criteria which they take into consideration. But they continue to invest in fossil fuel, they continue to invest in companies which harm the environment. So you ask yourself, with who are they joking? Are they joking with themselves, or are they joking with the people who invest? So that's greenwashing. Be careful for that. Technology and vision. First of all, keep it simple. That's the major thing, right? Because people put the ambition, but often get lost in their vision and ambition because they make from the beginning the things too complex. If you start simple and you keep it simple, that's how you step by step can go forward. Then there is, for example, the concept of cradle to cradle. That is, when we talk about the design of products, we try to see how can we reuse every component within the product development, and how eventually can we move it to another product in case the lifespan is over. We have the concept of reverse logistics, meaning that you should allow the consumers to basically return the products. There are all kind of obstacles built in. That is the responsibility, of course, of the consumer, but also, I think it's very important to say, that is the responsibility of the producers. All of those, I mean, the students don't have, but the faculty members, all of them have children. If you look at toys, batteries, I'm sorry, every 2 weeks I have to go to the supermarket for my children, buy batteries, because they have the toys, and these toys consume so much batteries that you think like, I mean, they just played with it 1 hour, how is it possible that the battery is already empty? So these toys are consuming so much battery power that you think, allez, producers should be able to start with that, because we say, if we teach the children, they will carry it forward for the rest of the society. And you know, in Switzerland, what do we say? We wake up very early, but we realize things very late. So the world is changing, and we're going through changes. We have to go to, first, the setting of Switzerland is that we have to go through a banking crisis before we realize, for example, that there are new opportunities and we have to change. Don't wait for that. Try to be proactive, try to be agile, try to see how the world is evolving. But for the students, it's important to have this, what I call strategic foresight. You know, try to read the news, the newspaper, try to watch the news every day and try to think of what are they doing in a certain country, how can I benefit from that. And the last thing, what I try to do for myself is every day I try to do 3 things. Every day I try to learn a new word. There are words in languages are so rich that there are words which you don't understand, so you try to learn a new word. Every day you try to do something, what can I do for the planet? I don't throw away the food, I don't go with a plastic bag to the supermarket anymore. And the third thing I say is, what can I do to make somebody else happy today? And if everybody follows this concept, I think we'll make the world a better place, no matter where you live.